was hoping to be a little further along, but I think we'll be all right anyway. Today, we are making some air fried pork tenderloin, and we are making some homemade mac and cheese, gluten-free, of course. We're going to try to make a roux. I went out last night and found some chickpea flour. We're going to try it with chickpea flour. If it works, great. If it doesn't, well, so be it. We're going to give some things a try, like we always do. We experiment on this channel so that you don't have to make those kind of mistakes at home. Can you get me the tool turning belt thing? Because I'm going to need lots of tools today. So he's going to do that, and he's going to go grab me a bag of broccoli because it's all in the freezer downstairs, and I forgot to get one out. So today we are making pork tenderloin, gluten-free mac and cheese, and we're going to make ourselves some roasted broccoli as well. So I'm just not as set up as I normally am. So I will apologize for that in advance. And if you'll hand me the onion powder and garlic powder, please, for the broccoli. Woohoo! So for those of you playing along, I've already pre-shredded some cheese because we're doing this on the stovetop, and we're doing it from scratch. I am getting this ready, and I am very good at forgetting to do this step right here, where we're going to just add a little bit of that so it doesn't stick. Hopefully I didn't get it on the table. Yay! All right. So we are going to have these in an Asian marinade. And I know my family will probably, at least my husband, will add some barbecue sauce to it when we're done. Will you bring a Sprite up for me too, please? So I've cut these up so they'll cook faster. So I've got them in about half pound portions instead of a full pound each. And hopefully that will cook everything faster. This one may not be quite done, but that's fine. We'll keep that one for leftovers, and that'll get cooked when it's warmed up. So I'm going to put these guys in the back because the back of mine cooks better, or cooks hotter, I guess I should say, not better. But we had just about the right amount of marinade when you don't have a whole lot left. I consider that a triumph. It means I didn't waste a lot. So, I gotta wash my hands. And I do have soap right here, so I'm using soap for anybody who's watching and wondering if I'm touching pork and then not washing my hands with soap. I am washing my hands with soap. So, good afternoon, my friend, my neighbor. We are making some pork tenderloin and some gluten-free mac and cheese, and we're going to roast up some broccoli as well. I'm going to pop all that in there when IT guy gets back upstairs here. I'm going to have to, you know what, I'll just do it on top of this. Shh, don't tell anybody. A little bit of extra olive oil won't hurt anybody so that my broccoli doesn't stick. All right. Gonna set this right here. Oh, you gonna open that for me? IT guy's gonna open up the broccoli, or hand me the broccoli and a pair of scissors, please. He just looked at me like, I'm gonna do what? No worries. Okay, so sometimes it's easy. So gonna toss this in on here. And yes, you could cook it from frozen in the Instant Pot. Or Instant Pot. Oh my God, where am I? In the air fryer. My bad. All right, so we're going to pull all those in there. And we're going to go ahead and season them up with just some garlic and onion powder. I've got some water on to boil. That should be boiling here in a minute. So the pork tenderloins are going to get a little extra seasoning because we're just going to season them right, the broccoli right over the pork tenderloin. You probably have to run the broccoli a little bit longer, but behave yourself. Pasta's getting crazy on us here, guys. All right, so we're going to pop that in there. I'm not sure if that's going to fit. It's not, so we're going to lower this down. And the pork is supposed to go for about 15 minutes. So we're going to air fry at 375 for 8 minutes, and then we're going to turn it around. So flip it. Flip it good. Everything will get... All right, so we got that. And that's all seasoned up, so that's all going. This is all boiling. Hey, Christy. Okay, you guys, I showed you this that I got from Costco, the thing that's a mandolin and it's a chopper. Where's the piece I just used? Put it in here somewhere. Oh, maybe I put it away. I wanted to show you guys something. Ah, I did put it away. Okay, this blade right here for this chopper, it is amazing for hard cheeses. This Irish cheddar that I've got is a really hard cheese. And it just shredded it up because I was trying to use the regular, you know, the shredding blade or like that one. And that makes really nice shreds. But when I was trying to do that with the harder cheese, it was so hard. So I switched over to this guy. And I'm telling you guys, it just, look at these. You can tell it, look at how tiny those shreds are. And those are going to melt so well. So I've got, this is a sharp cheddar that's orange, and then the white sharp cheddar. And you know, when they're used to the orange box, you got to do some things, right? But, you know, this just comes apart like this. These slide in and out of here really easily. I've already washed this one, so I'm putting this back. I don't need to wash it again, right? So, anyway, that's that. And hopefully I don't have to do any more, but I'm not going to wash this until I make sure of that. But for the people who've just come in, we're making pork tenderloin and gluten-free mac and cheese. We also have some broccoli in there that we're roasting, and we are going to try to make today a roux with chickpea flour. Pardon me, hiccup. With chickpea flour. Supposedly you can. So this is my, as you all know, not only am I gluten-free, but Ruby, under the weather. That's not fun in the summertime. Yuck. Summer cold, I hope that's all that it is. So we are getting close to being boiling here, so we will open this up. If you guys have never tried this, the Bonza pasta, great stuff. Cannot tell that it's gluten-free. I don't know, maybe my family would say differently, but I have to tell you, of all the gluten-free pastas, we decided to eat the Purdue, and they thought it wasn't too bad. So I think when we just decided to eat, you know, finish out the small bag of Purdue. So that's what they ate last night, and then we added tater tots to it, and yeah, because we had the sauces. As my husband will tell you, it's all about the sauce. So as long as he's got a sauce, he can eat just about anything. And it's funny because uh, his father was the same way, and I used to laugh because my mother-in-law made salmon patties, and when my father-in-law would eat her salmon patties, he would cover the entire salmon patty in tartar sauce, and then he would cover the tartar sauce completely in ketchup. So it used to crack me up. I'm like, she could feed you dog food and you wouldn't even know it. And he's like, best dog food I've ever had. So, that's my father-in-law in a nutshell. I was talking to my sister-in-law, my husband's oldest sister, today, and I said, do you realize our dads are going to be gone 30 years next year? So my dad was very young when he passed. My dad was 50. He had been 54 for less than 3 weeks. And my father-in-law had just turned 68 a couple months before he passed away. So we lost, and my father passed 3 weeks after my middle child was born. So it was a wild kind of time. What can I say? I'm going to get a spoon rest here real quick. Like I said, I wasn't quite as prepared as I had hoped to be. Hey, IT guy, I'm going to need some milk, please. We're going to make a bechamel, my friends. So I'll get myself some milk. This needs to go for about 8 minutes. The body feels like they're sticking, which is weird. So, oh, always, yeah, a little chicken with the sauce for sure. Thanks, Nora. It was a rough week. It was a rough year, being postpartum and losing my dad and all that stuff. And thank goodness he was an easy baby. So we probably had one of the few babies that went directly from the hospital to hospice, because he was already in hospice when my son was born. So yeah, that was it was quite a time. And my dad had, we found out he had cancer in September. Or August. He had surgery in September, and 6 months and 6 days later he was gone. Even after being told they got it all. They were so excited they got it all. And I was like, okay, cool. And it wasn't cool. So my father-in-law, on the other hand, had cancer. It was in remission for 5 years. And when it came back ferociously. And they wanted to do more surgery, and he said no. So anyway, we were blessed with the time we had them. And yes, it was a rough year. So, but I had a really good little one. That was wonderful. So there was good to be had in that year as well. That's my one that lives in California. I was discussing that with my husband. Yeah, I know it does. The arrogance of surgeons who say we got it all and they didn't get it all. So that's when we learned about that kind of stuff. That it doesn't always go the way we want. So I'm gonna quick put away these because I don't need them, and I'm gonna grab the salt and pepper because I don't think I'll need the salt, but I will probably almost assuredly need the pepper. Oh, and it's already over here. Silly moi. Obviously didn't put it away yesterday. So, with the World Cup on, we're not really eating at the table. So even if I clean the table off, we don't get to eat here very often because we're watching the game. Yes, we're soccer nerds. What can I say? It's my kids' fault. My older two were soccer players. My oldest played through high school, and then he played rec in college, and he's now coaching his daughter. And so, but my middle son is the one who got into the World Cup, and so I started watching with him because at that time, the first time, none of his friends watched. So I started getting into it then. So it's it's kind of a fun thing. I don't know if anybody else has adult sons. Sometimes you have to look for ways to bond with them, and this is a great way for us to bond. So I really enjoy that. We were just discussing today. He is aggravated with the VAR stuff. So if you're watching it at all, it's basically, if you're not watching it, it is it's instant replay for soccer/football, and it is not something that people are thrilled about for sure. So we're gonna flip everything because it's supposed to get flipped and then cook another 8 minutes. And the marinade that I used for the pork was some olive oil, some sesame oil, soy sauce, garlic, ginger, what am I missing? Shaoxing wine, and some rice vinegar. So I did that for a few hours, and like I said, that should do us pretty well. So anyway, since 2008, the middle one and I have been into the World Cup, and the oldest one, he still follows it, but because he's got a family and stuff, he doesn't get to share with us as much. He's lucky he was all excited because their family was invited to a birthday party yesterday afternoon, and I had to call him about something else, and he was all excited because they had the game on at the birthday party. So he and the other dads were watching, and some of the moms were watching the game. Okay, so yes, I'm all about the Asian flair. So gluten is a substance that is in wheat, barley, and rye that makes the dough stretchy and makes some of us very ill. So I avoid it. So just about done. I'm going to set this up. These have been washed. They're ready for cutting. Set that there for now. All right, let's see how we're doing here. I mean, it'll cook a little more. The thing is, I don't actually have to rinse this kind, although there is like a coating. Ooh, that's hot. Okay, that's better. I think my family's going to need it a little less al dente than that, but since they're the big mac and cheese lovers, I'll acquiesce to that one. Give them just another minute or two. It says 8 to 10. We've been just about 8, so yeah, I have what's called a non-celiac gluten sensitivity. I've been tested for celiac. I do not have it, but when I eat it, I get very sick. But that's also what I have found is that grains in general actually do that to me. So I made a mistake yesterday, y'all. Oof. I didn't realize we tried a snack that I had gotten from Trader Joe's, which had corn in it. And then I ate some more of those desserts that we made the other day. And I woke up in the middle of the night and my joints were killing me. I was like, oh, I ate too much of that stuff. So This has no grains in it. This is made from chickpeas. So this is a much safer thing for me. So I'm going to turn this way down because when I come back, we're going to make it in this pot. I'm not going to rinse this because I want the sauce to stick to it. So, and this is not something we would add pasta water to. All right, I'm going to get the rest of these out of here. And before I put that back on the heat, I'm going to grab some butter. I was going to try to make this with, I have a butter that's got plant sterols in it, and it's supposed to be really good for your cholesterol, but I don't know if it'll make a roux or not. So I've not tried that, and I didn't want to ruin the whole dish. Although I can always remake a roux. That's no big deal, but I figured give us our best chance. I know this should work. So, okay. And then need a handy dandy whisk for this. I used to think this was such a hard thing to do, making a roux, and I found out it's really not that hard. It just takes some patience. So you melt your butter, equal amounts of flour and butter. Like I said, I've never done this with chickpea flour. Let's find out if that works. If it does, I'm going to be so excited, you guys. I might be making gravy all the time, which will not upset my family at all. Sorry, I got an itchy face. So, you know what? I'm going to put this stuff over on the sink and pull this a little closer to me so I don't want to lean. Okay, it does have kind of a flour smell. This is something I do. So, oh, no, not making cookies. Yeah, for those of us who are gluten-free, all that gluten-free stuff in the store is such a blessing. For a long time, I just felt like I couldn't eat anything. It just was very sad. Now I can make some stuff at least. And like this brand, we call it Whole Foods, and found out that brand actually makes a pizza as well. So the thing about making a roux is that you want to make sure you cook out that floury smell, because if you oh, okay, that was weird. We've never had that happen before where chat disconnected, but it's back. All right, and I think we are to the point where it's now. Like I said, I don't know what this is supposed to look like, but it's gotten a little brown, which is fine. There's no more flour smell to it, but before it gets too hot, I want to get some milk in there. We're making a bechamel rather than like a gravy. So this will thicken up. So yeah, it said it came back. So those of you who are my regulars, are just to let me know that we're back. Can you give me a thumbs up or something? I just want to know that we're oh, there it is. Oh. Yeah, they do charge a lot for that, for extra, or a lot extra for that kind of stuff. But, and everybody, it's not just the gluten-free people, it's all of them. I am going to make BLTs on Friday, and I'm going to let that sit for a little bit because, well, actually, you know what? I'm going to turn this down even more. but it's burbling and I don't want it to burn. So we're gonna have to sit for a second. Watch this. We're gonna do two things at once here real quick. Here's my instant read. I gotta keep this moving so it doesn't burn. How about you? Are you done? Come on. No, not quite done yet. You know what? We're going to put that in for a few more minutes while we make this up. Okay. They're about 20 degrees less than they need to be. So now we're going to start adding our cheese in here. If it gets too thick, I'll just add some of the milk. Well, it did. And the thing is, it's so hard to use precise measurements with things like this because everybody's got a different level of what they want their cheese sauce to look like and how thick they want it and all that good stuff. So for those who weren't here, I just have two different kinds of cheddar. I have an Irish cheddar, that's the white, and then I have a sharp cheddar from my local grocery store. And I think that's going to be enough cheese sauce. I hope it's going to be enough cheese sauce. If it's not, I'll hear about it. It was about 2 cups of cheese, so I think we're good, but I will give it a taste just to try it. I will add some pepper. So, oh yeah, sugar-free is the same. Yeah, there's a lot of the same of that. Oh, I was saying I'm doing BLTs on Friday. I'm going to do a BLT salad and I'm going to do BLT sandwiches for my family. And I saw where bacon is something I'm supposed to cut back on. So since we were going to Whole Foods anyway, because it was the only place I could get the chickpea flour, okay, got to cook that a little more. It needs to break down just a bit more. But the flavor's good. I'm happy with the flavor, and I just hope there's enough. We were looking for a meat alternative bacon. Not easy to find, and there were 2 versions, and one of them had wheat in it, so I can't eat that. So we ended up getting the other version, and this is going to be interesting because it's a mushroom bacon. So I heard that that's the better of the 2, to be honest. So we'll see if that's true. All right, let's turn you way down. This started to get a little sticky. Not sticky like regular pasta, but just a little bit sticky together. Which is why I'm using the whisk, because I knew I could stir it and it'll kind of break it up as I stir it. Well, that is not bad at all. Or as my dad used to say, not bad for government work. Not that it was government work, but, you know. All right. So this is the consistency that we have. Pretty nice looking mac and cheese. And then if the family wants more, we do have pre-shredded, and they can do that. So I think I'm going to go ahead and turn that off just so it doesn't overcook. I'm going to try it with the pasta. I'll wait. I'll wait. We can all wait, right? Hey, IT guy, I need you to put the milk away. I'm weird about milk being sitting out. Anybody got a thing like that where you're like, oh, If something sits out for too long, you're like, no, don't like it. All right, I'm going to try these pork tenderloins again. If you would put that away, please. Thank you. All right, let's see if these pork tenderloins are done. Our broccoli's got a little char on it, so we're good there. Got our instant read thermometer. Okay, that one's done. That one's done. What? That makes no sense at all. That's hilarious. Okay, the two in the back are done. They're the bigger ones. So we're going to get those out. I want to kind of move that off the heat. Hopefully that's not, no, it's not in the way. Grab this over here. I'm going to grab a plate. What do I do with my spoon? There it is. So a little dollop of this. I'm going to pull out one of my cookie sheets that I forgot to get out a few minutes ago so that the pork can sit in that so I don't get juice everywhere, as we've been known to do when we're cutting a piece of pork, especially if it's juicy. I told my husband, I said, I'm pretty impressed with myself that I've thought of this. What can I say? Every once in a while, I get excited about things like that. Now, typically, I would let this sit for 5 to 10 minutes at least so it can reabsorb. Thank goodness they're made into smaller pieces. I'm also going to get some broccoli out of there from myself. Serving spoons. This is just a simple roasted broccoli, easy peasy, lemon squeezy, as we say in this house. I love broccoli. People used to be amazed that my children would eat broccoli. Actually loved broccoli. They ate asparagus, broccoli, all the good things. And my children, the one thing they didn't like, which used to make people laugh, was they did not like green beans. The one vegetable most kids like. They say, what are we having? I go, green beans. They go, aw. So, just a tiny bit of butter. Like I said, normally I would use my butter substitute, but I don't have it right now. So a little bit of that. I'm just trying to give that pork a little extra time. So, okay, set that there. And now we're going to carve up this little piece. I cut it into 4 pieces so it would cook faster for us. Now, I know there's a debate online, and I've looked it up. So please know that I have looked this up. That because of the way pork is processed now, this was 145 degrees, which it needs to be for pork. There is a part of the pork tenderloin that is pink. And if it's still pink, it's okay. As long as it's not red and bleeding, you're okay. I just want y'all to know that. I've looked it up multiple times because I'm always afraid. We've always been afraid. So I love asparagus. So Ruby, I'm not a huge mushroom fan, so I'll be really interested to see how this bacon tastes. If there's a way for me to eat mushrooms, I know they're really good for you, some of them. We were going to have steak this weekend, and we have some mushrooms that, if I don't mind, like I love sauteed mushrooms and onions together to go with a steak. That's so yummy. So anyway, the marinade again was olive oil, sesame oil, garlic, ginger, a little bit of soy sauce, Shaoxing wine, and rice vinegar. So I used the regular, not the seasoned, just because uh, I have more of the regular, so I needed to use some. And while it's not super dark, it's also not super salty. Uh, Shaoxing wine is that thing that's like missing in a lot of Americanized marinades. And you go, it just doesn't taste right. And that's why. And sometimes the end of a tenderloin can be really dry. This is not at all. Um, if you've not air fried broccoli, it's like the easiest broccoli you'll ever make. Um, for asparagus, Ruby, one of our favorite ways to make it, and it's a little time consuming, so we don't make it like this a lot. But if you take, and we tend to cut them in half, so it's not quite as, it's not so salty. But we cut the piece of, like if you buy the prepackaged prosciutto and you cut it long ways in half, and then we wrap it around the stalks. And there's usually, like, we buy the big 2 pound bag, and then there's enough for about half of them. And so you put the ones that don't have it on the bottom, and you put the ones that do have it on top, so that uh, salty goodness just kind of drips into the ones that aren't wrapped. And we'll roast those for about 20 minutes in about a 400-degree oven. So good. If you're a broccoli, or if you're an asparagus fan at all, that is a great way to make it. So good. And my husband, who doesn't really like salt, that's his favorite way actually to eat it. But it takes about a half an hour to get those. At least for me, I'm slow at that. If he helps me, it's about 15 minutes. So anyway, but air frying, we also air fry. On occasion, we air fry our asparagus, and then we'll just drizzle it with olive oil. And right when we pull it out of the air fryer, we put Parmesan cheese on it, and that's amazingly good. So now we're gonna give this a try. Hmm. I like the flavor, but there's an interesting texture. And I think perhaps I may have cooked the roux at too high of a temperature. I needed to go lower and slower so that because there's just a little texture to it that's a little off, if that makes sense. Um, okay, I'm just learning how to make greens. As a matter of fact, what you can't see off camera is the turnip that I had yesterday. I cut that up and cut the greens off of it, and I've got the turnips and the greens, and we call them cottage hams or cottage butts. Other people call them smoked pork shoulder. That's a Cincinnati thing. We call them that. Uh, and I know we all have we know the butt versus the shank part of a ham, but we've always called, um, like I said, I found out, I never knew it was called anything else. And my uncle moved to Louisiana, and he's like, I can't find cottage butts anywhere. So I looked up, is there another name for cottage butt? And I was like, tell him to look for a smoked pork shoulder. And he found it. So it was wild. But he said they weren't as good as from home. But is anything ever, when you find like the copy of what you grew up with, it's never as good. But the flavor of this is good. Like I said, got to get the textures right, I think. And maybe that's more cheese. I got to figure it out. But yeah, I had collard greens for the first time Okay, let me rephrase that. I have had southern collard greens, that are cooked all day with all the fattiness and all the uh, flavoring. They're delicious. They aren't always the healthiest thing for you. They're healthier than not having the greens, but they're not always the greatest. So I'm trying to find ways that are a little healthier. And last year, my son, or was it last year? Yeah, they they had been to Portugal for for a vacation, and when they came here, I said, "Is there anything you'd like us to make?" And my son said, "Well, we had this soup when we were in Portugal, and we have a really great international market." He said, "If you can find this kind of bean and this kind of meat, will you make this soup?" I said, "Sure." And he said, "I'll make collard greens to go with it." So when the Portuguese eat their collard greens with this soup, there's two ways. You can either cook it low and slow, so it kind of loses some of the bitterness, or you can flash cook it and it maintains the brightness, but a bit of the bitterness. But the thing is, with this soup, the soup is super rich and it's got lots of meat in it, and it's got something called pink beans. So if you've never seen them, they're kind of like they remind me of a cross. Like, they look like a pinto bean, but they're pink when you cook them, and they're really the soup was delicious. But then you caught all that richness with the collard greens, which was really an interesting thing. So anyway, easy marinade for your pork tenderloin. And if you can eat pork, I don't eat it very often anymore, but if you can eat it, marinate it, put barbecue sauce on it. It can be, I mean, I got 2 pork tenderloins. That's going to be at least 3 meals for all 3 of us, at least. Now we'll destroy the broccoli, but the meat, like I said, at least 3 meals, and it was $14 on sale for 2 pork tenderloins. Now, Christy's in New Jersey. She's probably going to pay a little more than that, but that's to have 3 meals out of $14 worth of meat for 3 adults. I call that a bonus. So anyway, so that's where we are today. I didn't realize that was still on. So air fry your broccoli, great idea. Gluten free if you use the Bonza pasta. I use the chickpea flour. Like I said, I would probably cook that lower and slower the next time to kind of get that texture cooked out of there. At least I think that would do it. And then your Asian marinade on your pork tenderloin. One of my favorite ways to eat it. And like I said, I know my family's probably going to throw some barbecue sauce in there. So anyway, there you have it. Tomorrow we're going to do chopped Italian sandwiches. So it's a viral thing. I'm going to personalize it because what I like versus what my family likes will be different. They'll eat theirs on bread. I'm going to eat mine as a salad. And I will show you all the different ways, because one of us doesn't like mayonnaise. That's would be my son, and would be IT guy. My husband loves mayonnaise, so we may do a mayonnaise type mixture for him. And like I said, I'm going to eat mine as a salad. So I may make myself an Italian vinaigrette of some kind, and we'll see how it all goes. So I wish you guys a wonderful evening. As I always say, eat well, be well, and I love you guys. I'll see you tomorrow. Have a great evening.